winter break. I don't know why, but what that means is that there's potentially teachers in classrooms right now that are using Slooh, and so it'll be good to have this webinar in Star Party so they can check it out and see how the new site works.
All right, well, cool.
So,
well, we are live, and like if you're here and you just heard Dr. John say that this is going to be great for starting the school year. So
yes, it is. I'm going to share my screen here. We have some gorgeous objects in the telescopes tonight. Let me make sure I get all of my various windows up. And before we begin, because we do have a few minutes, I just want to show
3 minutes.
Yeah, I just want to show everybody some of the cool things. So I got this Swan Nebula just a few minutes ago in the Canary 2. It looks absolutely magnificent. So this is a live image from just a few minutes ago. Like I said, I snapped it from our live telescopes. Anytime you're on the live telescopes, you can hit this camera icon button and snap a picture for your photo collection. Now, let me go back to Canary 1. There was this awesome image of the Eagle Nebula that I just captured with Canary 1. I actually think this one is probably going to be my new favorite Eagle Nebula shot for Quest posters moving forward. So it's always, you never know when you're on the live telescopes when an object that you really like will come up and it will happen to be the best image of it that you've ever seen. And so when those events happen, it's always important to click on this camera icon button and snap images for your collection. Great. All right, we've got a couple more minutes now. I'm just gonna kind of see, what do we got in Canary 3? See, IC 5076. It's like, I can see a little faint nebulosity here, maybe towards the center. Let's check out what's going on in Canary 4. Oh, got a globular star cluster in there. A little bit of a wind jiggle. All right. Just checking some extra things. We're gonna go ahead and begin very shortly in about 40 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. Right. Okay. Just take a quick. All righty, greetings and welcome to Slooh, Using Slooh in Education webinar. Tonight, I'm going to be your host, Dr. John Boisvert, Director of Curriculum at Slooh, and I'm going to introduce you to Slooh and our standards-aligned learning activities that we have here at Slooh called Quests. Now, I know that there's a wide range of audience here today, both in the webinar and tuning in through our event page, from K through 12, community colleges, universities, families. You'll find that Slooh works for everybody. We have users like you at every level. Now, since tonight is Using Slooh in Education, I am going to be focusing more on students and educators, but don't forget that our family packs also have access to the quests and activities that we're going to be discussing today. So I do have a brief agenda. First, we are going to learn about the Quest learning progressions and which standard education curricula they address. Next, I'm going to show you and your students how to control Slooh's online telescope by going on mission. Now, then we're going to figure out what you'll find in Quest and how students learn using Slooh. I also want to show you how to access the teacher resources and what they contain. Then I'll show you how you can assign quests to your students and monitor their progress. Along the way, we'll check out the live telescopes and see what we can capture. And if we have some time at the end, we'll we'll answer any stellar hot questions that you may have about using Slooh in the classroom. Now, if you're brand new to Slooh, I'm sure you're wondering what a quest is. Quests are coherent, well-sequenced, experiential learning activities that use Slooh's online telescopes to capture images of celestial wonders while learning about specific aspects of astronomy, history, anthropology, arts, and other STEM topics, keeping students excited and engaged to learn. We have over 70 quests that challenge your students to use Slooh to collect and analyze data to form their own conclusions. Now, Slooh has 10 online telescopes that broadcast live every night from our flagship observatory at the Institute of Astrophysics of the Canary Islands and our Chile Observatory in association with the Catholic University of Chile. What's really awesome is coming soon, we're going to be opening up the Australian Observatory. When that happens, we're going to have full 24/7 coverage of the night sky. Anytime you and your students want to take a look into space, all you need to do is just log on to Slooh. Now, students, especially in K through 12, are cut off from the night sky and the rest of the universe due to many factors. Light pollution, difficulty with using setup telescopes. Telescope nights are only one night a semester. Slooh's state-of-the-art telescopes and our Quest curriculum are an equitable way to bring the universe back to students so that they can engage with space and gain a cosmic perspective. Now, Slooh currently has 5 learning progressions of quests. We've had teachers in the past say that they don't have the time or the expertise to know which quest to assign to their students. Well, let us help with that. At Slooh, we have learning progressions depending on the class that you're teaching. These learning progressions are compact and aligned to standard curricula. With these learning progressions, educators can look at their syllabus on what they're told to teach and then use these learning progressions and say, okay, that's the one that I want to assign. So these are more for the ease of use for the non-astronomy teachers that use Slooh. See, before Slooh, only science educators with a passion for astronomy could bring space into the classroom. Now, any educator can do it. Now, I want to show you where you can get to the learning progressions from the Slooh dashboard. Now, when you log on, you're always going to find yourself on the Slooh dashboard first. It looks like this. All you need to do is click on where it says quests right here in the top. And there's a filter where it currently says all categories. That's what it's going to say by default. When you click on that, you'll see the 5 learning progressions are here: elementary school, middle school science, high school physics, high school astronomy, and college astronomy. And when you click on high school physics for middle school science, for example, what you're going to see are all of the quests that are in the middle school learning progression, and they're in the order that they should be within that particular learning progression. Now, I mentioned that quests address certain curricular codes, and I want to show you a place where you can find that information. Now, next to all quests, you're going to find these 3 dots. When you click on those, there's going to be a button that says View Quest Description. This is going to give you a lot of information about the quest that you're looking at. So here we can see the grade level, the homework time, seasonality, but with these pluses here, you can check out the objectives for the quest. And then under standards address, here's where you can find the NGSS curricula codes, the Common Core curricular codes, and more if those exist for the quest. And then under lesson information, you can see key vocabulary, the domains visited, the objects captured, textbook alignment, and more. Now, there is another way where you can see this information, but for all quests. And I want to show you how you can find that. One way that you can do that is going to slooh.com. When you go to slooh.com, you'll see the homepage. And under For Educators, you want to click on either elementary school, middle school, high school astronomy, high school physics, or college astronomy. Any of these first 5 categories under the For Educators menu. Let's do high school astronomy. So you'll click on that, you'll get to this page. If you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see a button that says See Our Curriculum Alignment. And this is going to take you to an Airtable which has all of the quests that we have on Slooh. So an Airtable is like an Excel spreadsheet that has information for all of the quests that we have on Slooh. And it allows us to kind of filter through the spreadsheet to give us some additional information. So for example, under grade level here, I can sort this by first to last. And now this sorts quests based on which ones are elementary school, which ones are suitable for middle school, and so on. And you'll find that we have some quests that are suitable for like both high schools and colleges. Now, if I take a look and through the Airtable, we can see the NGSS science and engineering practices, the disciplinary core ideas, cross-cutting concepts, performance expectations. Now, we've also aligned quests to the Common Core state standards for ELA and writing, and also math as well for certain quests. Now, one thing that's important for our Common Core ELA alignments is we align to the reading science and technology piece, not reading literature, which most activities that you'll find out there are aligned to. So it's one of the major benefits of Slooh being a science-based program. We're able to hit some of these codes that you don't typically see hit out there. So these are great for kids. We've recently aligned our quest to the Texas Administrative Code for both physics and astronomy, and also for science for our elementary school and middle school quests. Now, what's really cool about the Airtable is we can pivot this table on different columns. So let's say you wanted to teach a particular NGSS performance expectation like HSESS 1-3. Well, with this Airtable, you can figure out which quests align to that particular performance expectation. So if you're told to teach a lesson that hits this particular performance expectation, well, it looks like you have 6 different quests that you can assign your students to teach that particular standard. I think that's pretty neat. Now, we also have aligned our quests to the OpenStax astronomy textbook, and this is an example showing the which quests that we have aligned to each chapter within that textbook. Now, the OpenStax textbook comes out of Rice University, and it is an open source textbook, which means that it's free to go on and download. It's typically used in high schools and colleges, though middle schools and elementary schools may find that it's a good resource just to have on hand to look up certain facts, as the textbook itself is written more for the high schoolers and colleges, but there's nice images inside. Now, Slooh is an OpenStax technology partner, and as you can see here, we found many crosswalks between Slooh quests and OpenStax chapters. Now, there is one other way to access the Airtable, and I'm going to show you how you get there towards the end of today's lecture, or today's webinar. Now, a Slooh quest culminates in creating a poster-sized infographic that showcases the students' images captured themselves with Slooh's online telescopes. That's right, your students actually capture these images that show up on the posters, and they make these posters during the quest. In most cases, their infographic posters incorporate responses to questions within the quest. In this poster, From Stars Like Ours, students are learning about the different stages of stellar evolution for a sun-like star. And this gray text is text that a student put in themselves describing what's happening between each of these phases. It's pretty cool. These personalized infographics generate a spirit of accomplishment for the student while providing an easy tool to recall the content they learn while on the quest. Now, since students use their own captured images, every student poster is unique. No 2 posters are alike. This flexibility allows students to explore their artistic expression and create something that speaks to them and for them. Now, in some quests, students create animations out of their captures, such as the Moon Shadow quest. Another one is the In the Footsteps of Clyde Tombaugh quest, where students recreate the discovery of Pluto with Slooh's telescopes. Here, circled in gray, you may see a little dot moving. This is Pluto moving with respect to the background stars. This is very much so in the same way that Clyde Tombaugh discovered Pluto back in the early 1900s. So we try and think of any way possible for us to create animations and put these within quests, because not only are students then capturing the universe, but they're using these animations to see the universe come alive. Now, this is from one of my favorite quests, In the Footsteps of Apollo, where students learn all about Project Apollo, and they capture images of the moon when the day-night line, called the Terminator, is at each of the 6 landing sites. Now, what this means is that students have to plan in advance how they want their poster to look, because maybe a student wants to have the day side be on the right side of the moon for all 6 of their images. Maybe they want it to be on the left. Maybe they want to do some combination like I've done up here. And so depending on how they want to design their poster, that means that they're going to have to schedule missions to the moon at very specific times. So the quest teaches students how to do these things. And just to give you a sneak peek, because I always love doing that when I get to when I show these quests. All of the landing sites have a treasure map in them, and these treasure maps allow students to start on some particular mare and then basically crater hop from crater to crater until they settle in on the Apollo landing site. Their students are given a lunar module sticker, very much so like what's behind me right now, and they're able to use that to label where the Apollo astronauts landed. This quest is a good quest to get students amped up for Project Artemis, which is going to bring the first woman and first person of color on the moon this decade. So it's an exciting one for everybody to go on. Now, quests are a great way for students of all levels to stay involved on the platform, as they give students structure and they provide goals for learning and capturing images for their collection. Students follow in the footsteps of professional astronomers, from learning about their captured objects in Slooh's online telescope to planning and executing authentic observational astronomy missions by considering factors that can affect their outcome, such as weather, object altitude, and moon's location. Now, tonight, I'm going to show you multiple ways for scheduling missions on the telescopes. So with that, let's go through a tour of the Slooh dashboard. So the Slooh dashboard is where you and your students are going to find themselves right after logging in. This is basically their front seat to their exploration of space. Now, right up at the top of the dashboard is a section for our star parties. Now, these are shows that are put on the platform surrounding exciting astronomical events, such as meteor showers, supermoons, eclipses, and comet passings, and more. As you can see, we already have numerous star parties scheduled, and these are going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you and your students join these star parties and enjoy the show. Now, underneath star parties is information about each observatory. So there's as you can see up on the top, this is our Canary Island Observatory. Right now, it's online as indicated with this green dot. We can go to any of the 4 telescopes by clicking on these buttons right here. Now, underneath the Canary Islands is our Chile Observatory. Right now, it should be online because it is dark, but we have some clouds, and the clouds are preventing us from being able to turn on the telescopes. So they're offline right now. And so you can quickly and easily see which telescopes are online and which ones aren't by taking a look at this telescope section. Now, if I scroll back up to the top, there's actually another spot right here, a button that says telescopes. And when you click on this button, a side panel will pop out. And here we can see all of the telescopes that are in Slooh's online telescope arsenal. And we can see the 4 telescopes that are online right now. They're indicated with a green dot. So that's really neat. When things are offline, it gives you the reason why: offline due to weather. And Canary 5, this is our solar telescope. It's offline because it's only online when it's daytime in the Canary Islands and it's nighttime. All the other telescopes are out. which is cool. Now, underneath the telescope section is where we're going to find missions. Now, missions are how you and your students control one of the 10 telescopes in Slooh's online telescope arsenal. We will come back to this after the tour. We're going to spend a little bit of time here. Underneath this is where you'll find the quests that your account is working on. So earlier, I showed you a way to get to all of the quests by, if I scroll back up, clicking on this quest button. In the quest section, there's a button that says browse quests. That'll take you to the same location as if you clicked the quest button at the top of the page. So this will show you the quests that you are currently working on. If you are a student and your teacher has assigned a quest to you, those quests will also be in the My Quest section. So as you can see, I've started a lot of quests. Now, underneath the quest section is the photo section, and this contains photos of every captured image. So with these image stacks are the latest images of the particular object that you are looking at. So I can see some of the newest objects of the Orion Nebula, for example. And when you click on these image stacks, I'm going to click on the sun here. It'll take you to a page where it'll show you all of your sun images, and it will put them in chronological order. So this is really a fun way to view all of your images for a particular object at once, to find that one that you want to either download and share with your friends and family, or if you're an educator, download and use for an education piece. I also like to use it to identify where good images are, as sometimes some cool things like this one here, this little snake-like feature here was really fun. And so this is an easy way to kind of search through all of your sun images to look for particular ones that you've that you've remembered and you've liked. So the photo section is really neat. Now, underneath the photo section is observations. So observations are captured images from other users. So what will happen, a student or educator will take their captured image, they'll add their perspective to the image. What makes the moment unique? Why is this interesting? Or add some sort of perspective to it that they thought was really neat. And what's pretty cool is others can go on and we can like these. This is a really awesome one. So we can do what I'm just about to do. We can like other observations by clicking on that. And we can also comment on these observations as well. Now, another thing too is we encourage students and educators to make their own observations as well. And so with this My Observations tab is an easy way for you to look at your own observations, or a way for you to tell your students to view their own observations. Now, as an educator, I will say that you have the ability to allow your students to create observations or disallow your students to create observations. That part is up to you. So I do have some observations. It's like they're just not coming up right now, which is okay. So I'm going to scroll back up. I want to get back to missions. I want to show you how you and your students control one of the 10 telescopes that we have in Slooh's arsenal. So missions. This is, like I said, this is how you and your students will control one of the 10 telescopes in Slooh's online telescope arsenal. Now, a Slooh mission has 3 parameters to it. A Slooh mission is a fixed time, which is up here at the top, to look at a particular object, like the Trifid Nebula, with a specific telescope, Canary 4. So with those 3 parameters, we can do a mission to look at anything in the night sky. What Slooh does is we provide featured missions every day, so that if a user has some scheduled missions that they'd like to use, they can quickly log on and join the mission to capture the most beautiful things, and you'll be set. So this Eagle Nebula mission, which is going to happen in 38 minutes. I want to be on this one. So all I need to do is hit join, and boom. When the Canary 2 telescope slews on over to the Eagle Nebula at 40 UTC, it'll take an image and it will deliver it to my personal collection. Now, let's say, though, you wanted to schedule a mission to something that wasn't one of these featured missions. How do you do that? Well, there's a button here that says schedule mission. So you'll want to click on that. When you click on this, it'll take you to a page that looks like this. It says mission setup. This is setting up a mission using what's called the Slooh 1000, which is the 1000 most spectacular objects in the night sky. And it's a three-step process. The first step is to choose a category of object. So there could be planets, different star clusters, different nebulae, galaxies, and stars. Let's go ahead and use a mission nebulae. So when you click on this, what's happening is the system is looking at all of the emission nebulae that we can see in the universe with Slooh's telescopes, and it's determining which one is visible across all of the telescopes in Slooh's arsenal for the next 7 days. And it serves us this list. So when I look through this list, I can see a bunch of nebulae that are in a dark font. And every now and then you'll see some, like the Christmas tree cluster, that's grayed out. So objects that are grayed out are something that we can't see tonight, but all of these objects that have a dark font, we can totally see. Now, my favorite nebula is the Gabriela Mistral Nebula. I'm going to go ahead and go on a mission to that. Gabriela Mistral Nebula contains a feature called the Cosmic Cliffs, which is one of the famous JWST images. Coming in a month or so, there's going to be a JWST quest, which is going to go over some of these awesome things. So choose an object, you hit preview mission, and then it'll serve you one mission card that you can either take it or leave it. So I'm going to go ahead and take it. I'm going to schedule that mission. And when this time rolls around on July 20th, if the weather is good, the telescopes will move to that object and take a picture for me. Now, you and your students don't have to be on the platform when their mission occurs in order to obtain their image captures, although they are encouraged to look through the live telescopes as they keep looking at things, because you can always use this icon button to snap images for your personal collection. But what will happen is the telescopes will move to the object and it will start collecting light. And as more and more light is collected by the telescopes, our patented processes are able to do the processing and actually add color to the images, very reminiscent to Hubble images and JWST images. So this is what students expect to see with their space images. You know, when you look at things in the sky with your naked eye, or through a setup telescope, our eyes just aren't good enough to see these colors. But this is what, and even though these colors are real, but this is what students are expecting to see when they look through a telescope. So this is really awesome. So like I said, whenever you're on the telescopes, you can always click this camera icon button and it saves images to your collection. So students really could, in principle, just open up all the telescopes in different tabs and go from telescope to telescope, capturing images of whatever they're looking all night long, or until their bedtimes, of course. Now, the way that I showed you how to schedule missions is the quick and easy way for scheduling a mission. Now, I want to show you a different way to schedule missions that gives you a little bit more flexibility, and that's by using an object's guide page. And before I show you how to do this, I want to mention that this is the primary way that I schedule missions on Slooh. And you'll see why when we start talking about going on missions and quests. But before we go too much further, I want to show you that there's actually a section for guides that we can see in the top navigation panel here. When you click on guides, you can see that we have guides for all of the different object types or object categories, which was step 1 when we did our Slooh 1000 mission. There's also guides for famous astronomers and other astronomy things, for history, for training, etc. But we can use this this magnifying glass, which is right above the guides, as a way to search through the guides. So we can search for any object on the Slooh 1000. So I want to search for the Orion Nebula. And so when I type up Orion Nebula and click on find, you can see that it found one guide, the Orion Nebula guide. So you want to click on this arrow. Now, when you click on the arrow, it's going to take you to the overview page for the Orion Nebula, and it contains a lot of information. Excuse me, a lot of information about this object. It even includes the most recent observation that was posted with that particular object, which is pretty neat. But the main reason why I'm showing you this guide page is not for the overview tab, but it's actually for the next one over, the missions tab. When you click on the missions tab, this is how you and your students are going to get a little more flexibility with your image captures. And we can actually see why immediately. The first thing that we're told to do is to select a date. So already we can choose the day that we want our mission to go on. Already more flexibility. Then we want to choose an observatory. Now, if you want to click on the Canary Islands, you can. If you want to check on Chile, you also can. All these buttons are going to do is just navigate you down the page a little bit. So the Canary Island information is going to be given first. So when I scroll down here, I can see that it says unable to make a reservation for Orion Nebula at this time. Try making a reservation on a different day. Now, I know what's going on here. The Orion Nebula actually has already set. So let's go to tomorrow. So when we go to tomorrow's date and scroll down, okay, well, looks like we're not going to get it here. Well, what about we scroll down? Oh, look at that. So Orion Nebula wasn't available for us in the Canary Islands, but it looks like it was available for us in Chile. And here we're given 3 different mission cards that we can choose from. Already more flexibility. Before, when we scheduled missions with the Slooh 1000, we were only given 1 mission card. But if I look, and we're also given information about the weather forecast and more. So it looks like we have light clouds in the Canary Islands. So maybe we want to go to the next day. So I go to the 21st. Let's take a look. Okay, well, looks like we still got some clouds. What about the 22nd? Chance of high humidity. Okay. Let's check out the 23rd. Okay, light clouds. Okay, what about the 24th? What about the 24th? Come on. Roll the dice. Light clouds again. What about the 25th? Mostly cloudy. So we didn't find a clear day in the next week. So what we can do is we can just choose the ones that are the best possible conditions. So this one was light clouds to partly cloudy skies. And if you've been outside with light clouds and partly cloudy skies, you'll know that a lot of times there could be like nice windows between the clouds. And so we may get lucky. So we'll go ahead and schedule one of these missions. So hit schedule again, and boom, we are going to be going to the Orion Nebula. Now, there's one more thing I want to mention about scheduling missions before I move on, and that's that you and your students can actually join each other's missions so that everybody gets the same images. And let me show you how that works. So when you're on any of the telescopes, when they're online or even when they're offline, you can always look at the telescope's queue. And this is basically the schedule of objects for that evening. And if I scroll down a little bit, you'll notice that the mission cards start to have these 3 dots. And this gives you a way to join the mission. And so already this mission to the Dumbbell Nebula already has a number of folks that are joining this mission. So when I hope we can see that when I roll over this group of space people, I see 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 people going on this mission. So all 10 users are going to get these images when that mission goes around. Now, there is one caveat to missions, and it's that there's one telescope, Slooh's Canary 5 solar telescope, that actually operates differently from the rest of Slooh's telescopes. in that there isn't a way to schedule a mission to the sun. So if you need to capture an image of the sun for a quest or for an activity, you actually have to be on the live telescope when the sun is out in the Canary Islands, and use the camera icon button to capture your sun image, just like what I'm doing in this video here that I prepared for you. Okay. Cool. And I showed, and for those that were around in the beginning, I showed some cool. Here's an Eagle Nebula that I captured earlier. So you can always, when you're snapping images from the live telescopes, you can see the images that you snapped right above the field, which is pretty neat. All right. So let's talk more about quests. So quests are a significant part of our gamification of space exploration at Slooh. Students collect a heap of what are called gravity points as they complete quests. Now, gravity points are Slooh's equivalent of experience points. Students earn gravity points from doing most activities on the platform, scheduling missions, posting observations, liking other observations. But the easiest way to accumulate gravity points is to complete quests, because they give nice, huge chunks of gravity points. And students need gravity points if they want to progress through the 9 levels of Slooh that we have on the platform. These levels honor the contributions of famous observational astronomers worldwide from the classical era to the modern day. First level is Ptolemy, who believed that the sun orbited the Earth, and it ends with Hubble, who proved that the universe is expanding. Now, I'm currently at the Herschel's level, which is pretty neat. So quests are found by clicking on the quest button up here. And I want to show you how they're set up. So when you're on a quest, when you click on it, you're going to meet a page that looks like this. This is the overview page. And so quests are a series of steps, and each step is a series of multiple panels. At the beginning of all of our education quests, we have quest objectives that are clearly laid out for students to know the main points that they're about to learn. What's more is we've edited the Lexile levels of all of our quests to differentiate the text so that students within their respective grade bands can access the material. Now, every quest also has a series of vocabulary terms at the top. And these vocabulary terms are terms that students are going to learn within that quest. The first time these terms are brought up, the words are bolded, and the definitions italicized so that students can see their understanding in context. Now, while we're here, I want to show you yet another way to schedule a mission. So this is a way that students are going to be scheduling missions as they're working on quests. So in this particular step, a student needs to capture one of these 8 galaxies that are on the table. What they're doing is they're trying to capture a galaxy that looks like the galaxy that we live in, the Milky Way galaxy. And so what students need to do is they need to put on their thinking caps and use the visibilities that they're given in the table to determine which galaxy they want to capture. Because depending on what time a student is embarking on these quests, certain galaxies are going to be available while other galaxies are not. So it looks like if we're between early November and late September, which we totally are, the Whirlpool galaxy is a suitable galaxy to use for this quest. So what a student would do is they would click on this link for the Whirlpool galaxy, and watch this. When you click on that, it's going to bring you to the object guide page for the Whirlpool galaxy. This is the same page that we were on just a moment ago, but for the Orion Nebula. And so here, if I scroll down, looks like we can't take an image in the Canary Islands. What about tomorrow? Tomorrow should be good, and it is. We have some light clouds. You know, let's just take a chance and go to the next day. All right, light clouds, that's fine. And here we're actually given a few different telescopes to choose from. Now, I love the Whirlpool galaxy in Canary 1. Canary 1 is our half-meter telescope, which means that the mirror inside is 1/2 of a meter in diameter, larger than some of the students that use Slooh. So I'm going to go ahead and schedule this mission, schedule, and boom, once this time rolls around, the telescopes are going to move to the Whirlpool Galaxy, capture an image from my personal collection. Now, let me get back to the quest. Now, when a student's mission completes and they have their image, they actually need to insert it within the quest. Now, you'll insert images in these what are called data collection modules. Now, before I do that, though, I want to point your attention to this question underneath that says, what is the name of the galaxy you captured? And here, there's a gray generic image. Okay, so I'm going to find my favorite Whirlpool Galaxy image. I know that it's on page 7, and it's right here. So when I click on this image, the student's image is going to be put within the quest. And in all of the questions where a student needs to analyze this image or view it for some reason, they will be using their galaxy image. So you can see here's the image that we just put in. And then now when I go back down to what is the name of the galaxy you captured, that image shows up in the quest. So students are not only scheduling missions to capture the celestial objects, but they're using the data that they just captured to learn within the quests, which is so cool. So quests that require capturing objects outside of the solar system will have observation tables like this that will provide information about the seasonalities across all observatories so that students can have the information that they need to capture and complete the quests. So I mentioned assessments when speaking about vocabulary terms. I want to take a closer look at some of the ways that students learn on Slooh with quests. I'm going to have all these things refresh while I get there. So a Slooh quest assesses learning in various ways. Our 3 main modes of Q&A are multiple choice questions, fill in the blank questions, and free response questions. So we use these 3 types of questions to generate loads of different assessments, check for understandings, review, and more. So students will analyze their captured images to explain the phenomena in paragraph form as they progress through the quest self-guided activities. Students also learn how to obtain, evaluate, and communicate the information that they're learning. And answers to questions within the quest are clear if a student answers correctly or incorrectly for the non-free response questions. Other flavors of assessments that are found throughout Slooh's quests are mathematics walkthroughs that ensure students understand the reasoning behind certain equations and why they work with particular units. So in this example, this is from our How Far quest, which teaches students about unit conversions and uses them to convert the distances to celestial objects that they capture in different domains of space. And we also include fail comfortably free response questions that encourage students to use their reasoning skills to explain certain phenomena before learning about the topic and updating the responses afterwards. This is from our Stars Like Ours quest, where students are asked to watch a video of the sun getting bigger and turning red. And they're asked to explain what's going on. You can see here the Earth is getting engulfed. Now, we're pretty sure that a student doesn't understand how the sun evolves into a red giant star, but after they get done with the quest, they're able to come back and watch this video again, and then they're going to be able to use their newly gained knowledge to explain what's going on in this video. We also have scaffolding questions that keep students on track and build upon their understanding. This is from our Radiant Star quest, where students learn how the sun generates light, how that light makes its way from the solar core to Earth, and how various surface features form on the sun. After students learn about the structure of the sun and the fusion process, students must put it all together to explain how the sun generates visible light. What's more is students' responses to these questions will appear on their final infographic, which provides an opportunity to see if a student understands the concept. especially as an educator if you have your students present their posters to the entire class, which is a fun exercise. Now, while on Quest, students learn to develop, create, and use models while planning and executing authentic scientific investigations. Now, many free response questions that we have follow the claim evidence reasoning model and utilizes the student's understanding of vocabulary words. In this example, students capture what are called solar twins, which are stars that are the same size and brightness as the sun. And then they put those stars with the sun in order from nearest to furthest. And then they have to come up with evidence to support the claim that stars that are closer to Earth are brighter than stars that are further away. Once they're armed with their evidence, they're able to use that to come up with the reason to explain that claim. Now, this is just a taste of some of our different assessment pieces. Next month, we're going to be releasing some new elementary school quests, which will contain even more flavors of assessments. And we aim to make quests even more interactive for students. So stay tuned for that. Now, studies have shown that when educators implement coherent and well-sequenced inquiry-based investigations, that students attain a deep understanding of scientific practices. And Slooh's quests provide such investigations. And we can see this understanding in the students that use Slooh. Now, as educators, when you're on a Quest overview page like this, you'll see a button that says download teacher resources. Or if you're browsing quests in this view and you click on these three dots to view the quest descriptions to see the standard curricula, etc., you may also, so view quest description, you'll also see a button here, download teacher resources. So what are teacher resources? Currently, if you download teacher resources, it's going to have two PDFs. The first PDF is called a lesson plan. Now, all of the information that's on the lesson plans here actually live in these modals now. So in the next couple of months, I'm going to be updating all of the teacher resources and removing the lesson plans because now the lesson plans are now on the site. But it's the other PDF, which is probably the most important PDF of all. And this is called the Quest Guidelines. The Quest Guidelines contain an example of the poster that your students are supposed to create. It also has a section for the Quest Tips for Success, which is a place for me and my Quest authors to give you pointers for how to successfully do this quest in the classroom. Also includes vocabulary word definitions and where those definitions are, which step those definitions are found, and also contains an answer key for all of the questions within the quest. And these answer keys also include answers to the free response questions that the platform is not able to grade. These are the questions that you are going to have to grade yourself, but you can use these guidelines as a way to help you with grading to make sure that they're answering what they should be. Now, quests, I'm sure you're probably wondering how quests have been utilized in the classroom. Well, like a Reese's peanut butter cup, there's really no wrong way to consume a quest. As I mentioned, integrating quests as a homework assignment are a good idea. Colleges could use longer quests as laboratory assignments as their perfect length to keep a student engaged for an entire lab period. Some shorter quests may be perfect as an additional supplement to an astronomy lab, a lab assignment, or as a supplement to astronomy lecture classes. The quests are also a perfect jumping off point for research projects or reports or other independent studies, perhaps surrounding Project Apollo, Clyde Tombaugh, or some inspiring object or objects captured within a quest. Now, if you would like more ideas for using quests in the classroom, check out where I'm about to go right now. So we can view all of the old star parties by clicking on this community button. After clicking on community, you can see star parties. And you click on that. Here, we can see that there's 4 categories of on-demand video series. The educator workshops are the ones that you're looking for. These are past professional development webinars put on by our hosts Nicolette Letelier, Stephanie Hanover, John Gianfort, and Kurt Messick. They've given shows about using Slooh in elementary schools, middle schools, high schools. Here's one that I did for using Slooh in colleges. And so you can find all of these professional developments here by clicking on the educators workshops. And for those that are here right now, this is where we're at, the Using Slooh in Education. So I hope you enjoy perusing through all of these star parties. Now I'd like to talk about workspaces and how you can monitor your student progress. Now let's begin by starting on the dashboard and navigating to the workspaces button. When you click on that, you'll see all of the workspaces. Some of the workspaces are public workspaces and others are private workspaces. So you are going to have your own private workspaces so that you can use them to see the success in your students. Now, creating a workspace is as easy as clicking Create Workspace, and you can choose the school or organization that you're a part of. You can name your workspace, describe what school year you're in, and hit Save, and boom, it'll create a workspace for you. Now, I would suggest to create a workspace for every individual class that you have. So back when I used to teach 5 sections of astronomy labs, I would have 5 different workspaces, each for those individual sections. So I can't show you any real workspaces for privacy reasons, but I do want to show you the educators workspace. This is a place for all educators that are on Slooh. It's a great spot for educators to learn more about what's going on Slooh, to get some updates on what's going on the platform. And it encourages educators to talk to each other to figure out how everybody is achieving educational success with Slooh. Now, a few discussion pieces down, there's links for feedback on the Slooh quests. If you've had some time to go through some of the Slooh quests and would like to provide feedback for me and my content team, you can go ahead and use this link here. Now, if you want to have your students go ahead and fill out these survey forms too, you can. We have student surveys here that do not ask for any sort of identifying information, so we have no way of telling what student provided these forms. But what's pretty cool is, based on the feedback that we've gotten so far, we've been able to show that that Slooh has increased the student interest in science by 86%. 86% of students think that, or say that Slooh has increased their interest, and I think that that's good, especially for today's day and age. So I do, though, want to show you a little bit of how a workspace works, and I can do that by showing you my demo workspace. Now here, this is my demo workspace. Hello and welcome Using Slooh in Education attendees. That's you. So first thing I want to show you is discussions. So this is where students would post their discussions to talk to each other, to share with each other some cool images that they're capturing in the telescopes. As educators, you can prompt discussions as well. You can say, post your favorite image that you captured this week, and students would be able to reply to those discussions, add images. Other students are able to like and comment on the original discussion or any other replies, etc. So this generates a lot of discussion and engagement. Not only that, if you allow your students to post observations, your student observations will also be displayed in your workspace. So this is a way where you can maybe, have students post one observation a week, or when they get done with the quest, post one of their favorite quest image and write a summary of the quest. And other folks can come in, and other students can come in and like it, etc. So this is really neat. Now, when you click, and then leaderboards, you can actually see which students throughout all of the Slooh students, which ones have the most gravity points, which schools have the most gravity points, etc. let's go on to students. So here, this is where your roster is going to be. So when you want students to join your club, you can invite them by clicking on this invite student button. Put in their first name, their last name, copy and paste over their email from your official roster to make sure that copied over right. That's one way that you can do it. Another way that you can do it is you can share this link to your students, and with the students clicking on this link, they're able to join this particular workspace. Now, when you have students in your workspace, you can use it to see a lot of information about your student. You can see how many quests they've completed, how many they're working on, last time they were on the platform. You can see their gravity points. When you click on their username, you can actually see which quests they're working on. And you can use this to drill down to see, okay, which steps are they still working on? Nifty nebulae, oh, looks like they did step 1, step 4, but they still need to do steps 2, 3, and then 5 through 7. So that's really neat. Now, you can also, there are this little download button here. This is a way for you to download what's called a Quest PDF report. And a PDF report is a report of the student's work that you can use for grading. So all of the students' captured images are going to show up in the Quest PDF report. Answers to questions within the quests are going to be there, and more. So this is a way that you can get the answers from the quests and start grading them. The assessment reporting should be robust when you download them. As educators, you should be able to see how many tries the students attempted for multiple choice questions. You should be able to see how many attempts and what the attempts were for fill in the blank questions. We spent a lot of time trying to tighten up these quest reports to make them as brief as possible, but I'm sure we're going to be revisiting these again. Now, another way that you can get to Quest PDF reports is in the Quest overview page itself. There's a little button where you can download your Quest PDF report. So the future on Slooh is looking bright. This next month, my team is going to be republishing all of the elementary school quests with a tool that will give students more flexibility in their poster creation and make activities even more interactive. It will allow students to crop, zoom, center their telescope captures. They'll be able to add arrows, lines, and even draw on their posters too. So, for example, they'll be able to actually circle the dot, which is Pluto, on their Pluto images. Students will also be able to edit the text that are on the poster, change fonts, colors, add more text, add additional graphics, and more. We'll even be able to do things like measure the length of prominences on the sun using Earths. There's activities that we can do to facilitate that. I also would like to give you a sneak peek. This here is a sneak peek of this new type of activity that we are going to be launching next month. So in this activity, this is a puzzle where students are supposed to put together the layers of the Earth. And so they'll literally be able to and be instructed to take the core of the Earth and the mantle of the Earth and the crust of the Earth and then the atmosphere and actually make all of the layers of the Earth. And then they'll be able to actually put text on here and label them as well, which is pretty neat. Outer space. And even go so far as drawing an arrow to outer space, etc. That arrow is maybe not so hot, but we actually also have arrows themselves, which look much better. But just wanted to show you that I think that this is something that's coming out that's super exciting. So not only are the Quest posters going to be very personalized, but we're able to use that poster. We're able to use that module to do other exciting and engaging activities. So let's go ahead and jump on over to Canary 2, see what we got here. Beautiful globular cluster. And I just want to close out tonight's webinar by saying, as you can see, Slooh quests, they're authentic remote observational astronomy activities using Slooh's online telescope arsenal of 10 robotically controlled live telescopes at premier observatory sites worldwide. They teach students how to explore space in a self-directed manner while completing standards-aligned learning activities that challenge them. A remarkable aspect of astronomy is that it touches on many subjects and topics. Astronomy truly is a gateway science that uses the phenomenon captured in telescopes to inspire and encourage students to think scientifically. Therefore, Slooh is more than just an astronomy platform. It's a STEAM platform that encourages and inspires the learning of practical skills in an exciting and an engaging way that prepares students for their future careers. So if you are watching and if you are interested, all you need to do is email education@slooh.com and they'll help you out with any additional demos, product choices, etc. This globular cluster now in the live telescopes is looking beautiful. I'm going to capture it. You can see all of the golden stars here, the yellow stars and red stars. Wow, it's nice. So before we finish, I do want to again remind you that we have a number of star parties coming up. There is the full sturgeon supermoon, which is coming on August 1st. And those that know the how long it takes from full moon to full moon, 29.5 days, we'll add one to it, and they'll notice that shortly thereafter, on August 30th, we're going to have another full moon. 2 full moons in the same month means we have a blue moon. So we have 2 full moon star parties coming up in August. We have a star party following the Perseids meteor shower. We have the annular eclipse coming up in October, and next April is a total solar eclipse. So I cannot believe that this is all the time that we have for today. I am going to move on over to the live telescopes, but if you have any questions, please send them through. Well, I don't think that we have any questions today, and that's totally okay. If you ever think of any questions or need me to assist you with anything, you can always do that by emailing john@slooh.com, and I will definitely be able to get back to you. Oh, I just see some awesome things in the chats. We did have a question asking, when do we get the puzzles? So the puzzles are going to come in next month in August. There's so many cool activities that we put together. Just I wish I could fast forward to it and show everybody the cool stuff that's there. But with that, we just got some color in Canary 3. This is looking beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and take a snap of this one. So before we get off, I just want to extend a huge thank you to Gretchen Bickert for being here behind the scenes. She is managing multiple streams right now, making sure that nothing catches on fire, and keeping me on track as I go through this webinar. If it wasn't for you, Gretchen, I would definitely be overwhelmed. So thank you so much, as always, for being here tonight.
Very welcome.
And also, it takes a huge weight off of my shoulders. And for everybody that's still here, thank you so much for being here. I hope that you have a blast exploring space with your students. Until next time, keep reaching past the stars to the galaxies beyond.